Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the 31 Days of R. I am your host Mood616 and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yeah, day 22 is here and I've got one here from MVD Visual, and you know, I didn't really know much about this film at all, but then doing a little bit of investigation on it, I found out that this movie is actually based off a long-running comic book series that I believe started in the mid-90s or something like that. So, you know, going into a film not having any prior knowledge of, you know, the history of it, really, is kind of interesting in itself, so... But it seems like it was a pretty decent comic book series. I mean, at least it lasts as long as it has. So, I mean, it's got to be, you know, something there anyways. And the film in question here is Bubba The Redneck Werewolf. Production from 2014. Just came out on home video, of course, from MVD Visual here in 2016. And, you know, with a title like this, you know what you're getting yourself into. It's a horror comedy for sure. But getting into the synopsis of this one, basically follows your main character, Bubba. Bubba's like your well-mannered type, you know, not the sharpest knife in the drawer type character. He works as a dog catcher, more or less, basically cleans shit out of dog kennels. He's kind of down on his luck now. He just recently lost his girlfriend. So he starts to mutter all sorts of weird kind of things. He's sitting at the bar and all of a sudden this devil just shows up out of nowhere. And the devil kind of convinces him to sign a contract which kind of sells his soul to him in order to get his girlfriend back. So he does that. And then, you know, the next day he wakes up and he's a werewolf, but he's also irresistible to his old girlfriend, who now is back with him. So that's all going good until he realizes that the devil has been getting all the other town folk to sign over their souls, sign these contracts, and now he's got to figure out a way to kind of put an end to this and get rid of the devil for good before he takes over not only the town and the people, but the bar that he drinks in also. So that is the synopsis of the film. Yes, quite ridiculous, but entertaining though, to say the least. My thoughts on this one, first off, a couple things that really kind of shocked me about this film. This movie was written by Stephen Burrow. Now, if you're familiar with him, last year he wrote and directed American Guinea Pig, Bouquet of Gore and Guts and Gore, and he's also the owner of Unearthed Films. Now, if you're familiar with those things, you would... You know, it would be hard to kind of put these two things together because this is so polar opposite than what he's usually involved in. He's usually involved in more hardcore type underground horror films and things like that. So this one right here was just a far stretch in my imagination to see his name attached to something like this. So that was actually kind of cool. The second thing that really shocked me as I was watching this film was the cinematography was fantastic in this film. It was really well shot. Now, I was expecting a really low budget type film, and what I got here is a low budget film, but it had a budget. You know, it definitely had something to go off of on. And I was very shocked at a lot of the overhead panning shots and just really good angles, and they took a lot of time. You can tell there's a style involved in the making of this film, which I thought was really fantastic. Kind of shocked me, actually. I don't really see that in a lot of these, you know, these horror comedies and stuff like that. So what you're going to get in this film, you know, being like a redneck comedy, it's going to play on the tropes and the stereotypes of, you know, redneck humor and things like that. You got a lot of those, but I think all the, you know, the characters in this film, even though they're very stupid type characters, are very likable. And, yeah, they're not only likable, but they're playing it off so well. You know, it just comes across as like, aw, you know, it's got like one of those type deals. It's kind of strange how the characters are. You know, they're not smart, but you're always kind of rooting for them a little bit. But yeah, it does have a lot of that redneck humor. The guys are always drinking and smoking and, you know, saying stupid and absurd things. They're in a bar pretty much the entire film, which is kind of cool. That they actually shot in a real bar. And with the town folk from the small town were actually still in there, you know, while they were shooting. I thought that was really cool how they did this. But another thing that, you know, I did like about the film, I liked that they used mostly practical effects. You know, there is some pretty good gore scenes in this where a dude gets his arm ripped off and a guy gets his head kind of punched off and shit like that. And, you know, there's some really good stuff in here, but they did mix in some CG. And there's some CG in this film that I didn't really understand why it's there. And, you know, it's things like smoking a cigar. Why is the CG, why is the smoke CG and things like that? And there's some other kind of incorporated CG throughout the film too. I'm just like, why would they do that? I never understood mixing practical with like minor levels of CG because it kind of takes you out of the film. It almost cheapens the film in a sense for myself. So that was kind of off-putting a little bit because, you know, the humor that's in the film it's kind of, you know, it's a little bit lowbrow and things like that and stuff, but, you know, you don't really need to cheapen that, you know, even with, like, bad CG and stuff. I don't know. I don't know if that was intended to be like that or something, but who knows. Overall, a pretty entertaining film. I have to say, for a 77-minute film, I did feel that there was certain scenes and certain parts and stuff that did kind of drag. But there is some pretty clever jokes in here with some lower, tier jokes and stuff like that. Like, all these type of horror comedies, they always have a level of, some jokes work and some jokes don't. For myself, I did laugh out loud a couple times. I chuckled a lot. There's this one really funny scene where it's kind of like a montage scene where the devil's kind of walking through the town and he's fucking things up and stuff. Anyways, you see like all the town folk rushing into this theater and it says Michael Bay Marathon. And as everyone gets in there, they're all in the building. He snaps his fingers and it changes to Foreign Film Festival and they all come running out holding their throats and gagging and stuff. I thought that was pretty funny. But that's the type of level of comedy you're going to get in this. There's random posters all over the place, like Cownado, as in like Sharknado and stuff like that. All that type of things, but I was expecting, honestly, the humor to be a lot more stupid in this, but there, like I said, there is some pretty clever stuff in here. And this film just has a lot of heart. It definitely has a lot of heart. I was very impressed by the overall imaginary of the characters, too. Like, some of the characters, like the master of the two-stroke engine. This biker dude, fuck, I started laughing so hard at that. I'm like, they're so impressed by this guy who's the master of the two-stroke engine. Shit, man, that made me laugh so hard. It's just like, the simplest things in life make such a big deal to these rednecks, playing off the stereotypes that they're all so mesmerized by just the smallest things. Shit like that. But some really funny things in this film, but it's short. It has some pretty good music cues in this too. That's one thing I really enjoyed about this film is the original score to it. You can hear it playing in the background. Fantastic stuff. Really, really good stuff. I thought the music cues all over the film were really good. Now, I know these horror comedies aren't for everybody. In fact, I'm getting a little burnt out on by these things myself. I did enjoy this film. I didn't think it was like fantastic or anything. I will say there's another scene. I'm going to talk about it just because you can see it in the background. Where they go to this gypsy, she's like a palm reader, and for whatever reasons, she's like reading Bubba's palm, and she just starts puking everywhere. Well, I fucking lost it. I was like, that is just so ridiculous, man. But I actually watched the little 15-minute documentary that's on here, and they explained how they did it and stuff, and it was cracking me up even more. So, that's the type of humor you're going to get in this film. Pretty fun stuff. If I had to rate this one, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I know it seems like it's pretty high for it, but I really did enjoy this film. I do think it has its faults, and, I think it could have been just the CG, man, just kind of cheapened it for me a little bit, but yeah, it is what it is. But, another good thing was the design on the werewolf. Very simple, but very good. The makeup effects were really good on it. On Bubba, I thought he was fantastic. And the guy that played Bubba in the suit did such a fantastic job. His notions, his mannerisms, everything were just really fantastic. So, but Bubba the Redneck Werewolf, man, if you're interested in these horror comedies, give it a shot, man. Just expect something that's, it's not like disturbing comedy. That's one thing I did like about this film, is that it's almost like a family film, minus the gore kind of thing. But anyways, I'm just rambling on. I should probably get out of here so I can go back to my couch because I'm deathly ill right now. But anyways, guys, that is going to do it for day 22. See you guys in day 23. And as usual,